Hi, friends. I've made an observation being home this week, one that I think you might agree with, that when you are in a lockdown mode, home arrest, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to eat until the fridge is empty, or you're going to argue. I know that because I've been fielding calls all week long acting as a referee. My advice to you is age old advice. The ladies are always right. All kidding aside, in the situation that we find ourselves, we learn that we don't have the answers. We certainly don't understand why. The more colossal the event, the less we understand as to the rhyme and reason. But we can learn lessons. We can learn wise lessons. And one of the lessons that I find we learn in the current circumstance ties beautifully into this week's Parsha. As you know, the word Vayikrah, the name of this week's Parsha, is spelt with a little aleph in the Torah. The last letter is smaller than the rest. And all the commentaries have comments, and most of them point to the idea of humility. I'm not here to focus on the idea that we're not humble enough and to cut people down to size. I want to talk about a positive humility. And I'm reminded about a Sikha talk that the Rebbe gave years ago, uh, as only the Rebbe can deliver in his novel way and just thinking totally out of the box, which was so fascinating and enjoyable to hear at the time. And the Rebbe is focused on the Mishnah of Ezel Asher Samech B'Chalke, the famous Mishnah which says, "Who is wealthy? The one who is happy with his lot." And he asked the simple question, is it so terrible to want more? Why should we be happy with our lot? So that if we find ourselves in a situation where we only have a piece of bread, God forbid, and some water, should we really be happy with that? What happened with ambition? Why would the rabbis want to stifle ambition? And so the Rebbe asks us, he suggests that maybe we think in completely the other direction. And that the lesson that the Chachamim, that the wise sages are giving us is that who is the wealthy person? The person who can be happy with his lot. So many times we become so preoccupied with what it is that we are doing and what we're in charge of that we can't find the time to smell the roses. For instance, you tell family, sweetie, why don't you go on vacation with the kids? And I need to be in the office. Things of that nature. And if that is the case, then you are really a slave to everything that you own. As much as you might own, you're still acting in a slave mentality. You're not a free person at all. And so the Rebbe says when the Rebbeinu Shalom blesses you with beautiful things, and we know what true beauty is, um, take the time to smell the roses. And I think the times we are in right now has taught us that lesson. So many times we have the notion that if I were to step aside from the things that I am in charge of, that everything would fall apart. And so when the family, when you need time for yourself or community calls on you, you convince yourself you cannot step aside and that everything will fall apart. Well, guess what? We are home now, and many of us have had to relinquish some of the tasks in charge that we normally have, and the sun still comes up in the morning. And it teaches us we're not indispensable. So perhaps when all this craziness is over, and God willing, it'll be over soon, let us remember to take the time to stop for a moment and to realize that the places we choose to be in or the tasks we choose to do is really our personal preference. It's not really necessity. Let us be humble and let us be wise and enjoy the great blessings that God has surrounded us with, be it family or when the community needs you or somebody needs you to come to their wedding or a bar mitzvah so that you can help bring greater joy to them. Whatever it might be, put everything aside for a moment and guess what? Count your blessings. You'll be a happier person then. I wish you all a happy and a pleasant Shabbos and a peaceful home. Good Shabbos.